everyone, and welcome to episode 178 of the Run in the Pain podcast. I'm Miles here with Joey, Ben, and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Happy to be back with you guys.
I second that. Ditto. I'm awesome. Got a loaded episode. I'm excited to be with you guys. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Great to finally be back. It's busiest time of year with Ben and I working some college basketball games for, about another month or so, but had to come back, talk about the NBA here because this is the final episode before the trade deadline on Thursday. And already a couple trades have gone down. The All-Star reserves got announced as well. And we have a brand new segment here on today's on the podcast as well starting today. So a lot of fun. First, we're starting off with POELTL. POELTL today thought it'd only be right since we are in trade season to go with someone who just got traded. We're going to go with DeAndre Hunter. See if POELTL has updated itself yet. No. And it is not.
No. Oh, well.
Still says he's on the Cavs. So
still January in POELTL world.
Yeah, correct. So 6'7" wing in the Eastern Conference looks like that's younger.
Oh, Paul George, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll just go over all the names that we've headlined here to talk about.
Yeah. Is Giannis? Is this Giannis?
Let's see. 6'7" forward in the Eastern Conference. That's younger, higher jersey number, not in the Central Division.
What about Brandon Miller? Does he have a load number?
Not bad.
No, he's
24.
I like that.
That's a pretty good guess.
Red Hot Hornets. Let's give it a try, man. Brandon Miller. Oh my gosh, someone.
Oh.
What a guess, Nick.
Hold on a minute. Is it Josh Green then? Is he that tall?
Well, this is a super young dude. This is 20-year-old or 19 years old. This is either like a Sion James or I don't know what number he's wearing. Con Knippel's the number 7, right? I
yeah.
believe.
He's not 6'7". Sion or TJ, right? TJ and Salon.
Salon, yeah. Is he taller though?
I don't think so, bro. He's like he might be.
I think it might be Salon.
I think it's Sam. I actually think it's James.
I think it's Sion James personally.
Ben, what do you think?
Salon.
Even Steven. All right. Let's see. How do we want to do this?
I don't think Salon is that small.
I agree.
Is Sion James 6'7"?
Smaller than this.
Is he smaller?
I think he's just physically bigger than I think he's just got more muscle.
No. He's big on the perimeter in 2K. I'm sticking with him, even though I actually think he wears a single digit for some reason. But no, there's no way because he's a rookie.
Well, you can. Tajon Salon's number 31. That is for sure.
That is for sure. Okay, I'm good with that.
But
all right, that's fine. Go with him.
If not, we'll go with Sion James. But Tajon Salon, what?
He's too tall. And his number's higher. Oh, Sion must be like 45 or 50.
Neither.
What? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. 32 or 33?
Dude, the mystery Hornets player. Josh Green?
No, this is a 20-year-old.
No.
This is literally 20 years old.
20-year-old.
Liam McNeely, the other rookie.
Oh yeah,
McNeely.
Right.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
McNeely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I forgot about him. Darn.
Gosh, man. Yeah, the Hornets have been obviously playing great. They've been playing 4 rookies in their rotation. We were going to go through all of them, but we got to Liam McNeely, getting him in 5. Man, that is tough. Well, at least we know neither of us were correct there. Liam McNeely just got us all. But let's get in here to the podcast. A lot to talk about here today. Let's start off with the All-Star reserves for the 2026 NBA All-Star Game. Of course, there's the new format, the round robin with the U.S. versus world teams. But regardless, there were still 12 players picked from each conference. We had the starters announced a couple weeks ago that we already talked about in the last episode of the podcast. And in the last episode of the podcast, we predicted the reserves, and I think across the board we were all close to being right. Let's go through these conferences here. Which one do we want to start, East or West?
West.
West.
Can we
All
talk
right,
about the
Western
biggest
Conference.
snub?
Yeah, I'll talk about the Western Conference. So the starters were Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Victor Wembanyama. The reserves that were all announced: Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves, who some of us had as starters, if I'm not mistaken, but obviously ends up making the game here.
I think most of us had Steph.
I had
Yeah,
Ant
if I'm
Edwards
not
in the
mistaken,
starting.
here
If
I
I
Right,
will
Ian,
remember.
find.
starter.
Oh, you did too, Ben?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it did.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 of us.
Oh,
did.
Nick was the
Oh,
only
you did
one that
two
had
miles?
Curry.
What the heck?
Yeah,
I
thought
went
was-
5 for 5, big dog.
But anyways, yeah. So that's it right there. So Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant from the Houston Rockets, first-time All-Star Deni Avdija from the Portland Trailblazers, very well deserved. Jamal Murray, another first-time
time.
guy, finally makes it. Congratulations to Jamal Murray. Chet Holmgren, another first-time guy for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns, who I honestly was surprised with. Let's see, who was
It's the same story every year with him, man.
I had him.
I mean, he's good enough to be
Right.
there. He just doesn't really like do enough to make it a surefire thing every year, you know?
What? Me and Ben are smart.
Yeah, so
Look at
Joey,
that.
so yeah, we were 50-50. Joey and Ben had him. And then LeBron James from the Los Angeles Lakers ends up making it in for his 22nd All-Star game, first time as a reserve in his 23rd season. So, Joey, see the look on your face. Let's start off with you. Where do you want to start off with these Western Conference reserves?
I love LeBron James. I will always love LeBron James, but I didn't see Sengun's name on there, and I feel like he should have been a lock. Like we all had him. We all had him as a lock. We all thought he was going to be it. That is my biggest snub. Rockets are good enough. I think they deserve to, and those were the two obvious. I don't know about the Lakers having two. And
Well, if the
LeBron-
Lakers did have two, I had Austin Reeves on there, and I know he's been hurt, but he, in my opinion, has had the more impressive year of the three. Like, if you're only picking two out of the three, LeBron, Luka, and AR. I mean, when LeBron was out at the beginning of the year, the Lakers were not supposed to start as hot as they did, and AR was going off for 25 plus a game, doing everything, getting assists, rebounds, and really like having them in the flow of their offense. So I would have voted for him over Booker, and I would have put in Kawhi for sure over LeBron.
agree with that
Kawhi,
as well.
The Kawhi stuff we'll get to because I'm shocked that he did not make the game. But I will say, I think if Austin Reeves had played enough games, I think he would have been a lock for all of us because he's had an incredible season. But the reality of the matter is at this point, as we're recording, he's played in 23 out of their 48 games. He's played in less than half their games. So because of that, I think that's the odd man out for this list. But Ben, as I believe the lone person on the podcast that did have LeBron making it from your predictions, what are your reactions to the fact that he did end up actually making the game?
Well, I mean, great for LeBron still, I guess. I mean, he said he wasn't really picky about All-Star game stuff this year, though, from what I know. But, I mean, he'll go still. I mean, will always be popular at the game and stuff. And, yeah, I thought at the time, a week or two ago, he should have beat it. And, I mean, he was around a borderline kind of all-star, but I am shocked myself though that like Kawhi or Sengun didn't make it over him because I think they would have been more deservable than LeBron. And I saw Chet made it. I didn't have Chet at the time, but he was borderline potentially deservable all-star too. He somehow got in, which was good for him. I mean, the Thunder have been playing really well this year, but yeah, I think part of why LeBron got in as well was just because I think possibly fan voting or just his popularity still had something to do with that, is my guess.
Well, a thing for the reserves is, if I'm not mistaken, it is strictly the coaches voting. So the reserves are all responsible by the 30 coaches, the
Well,
30 head coaches in the NBA. So
So LaMelo's only shot is to be a starter.
okay.
Yes, Nick.
we'll get to that in the Eastern Conference, but yeah, man, I was kind of surprised with that LeBron made it. I mean, when watching the announcing it live on the first ever Sunday night basketball in America or whatever on NBC, which is very cool. Shout out to Bob Costas. That introduction was awesome there in Madison Square Garden. But when they're doing this, they of course saved the last spot for last. And Maria Taylor's like, all right, guys, you want to guess who this is going to be? To Carmelo, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. They all say LeBron. And for a second before they showed the graphic, I'm like, he actually made it just straight out of the game. I can't believe he actually made it. And again, like you said, Joey, huge fans of LeBron, obviously. I think he's the greatest player of all time. All of us being, Cavs fans, from, his time there and being fans of the championship team, obviously, we're all fans of LeBron. There's no question about it. But for this particular season, for a guy that really didn't start playing all-star caliber basketball until like a month ago, it's kind of crazy to me that he ends up making the game over, a Şengün who's having a good year for a good Houston Rockets team, or a Kawhi Leonard who, yes, the Clippers have, had their ups and downs this season. And Kawhi's also been out a decent amount of games as well, but he's no doubt had a better year than LeBron. There's no doubt in my mind. Kawhi's having arguably the best season of his career in the
So you were
regular season.
watching on Sunday and you were in utter shock and disbelief?
Honestly, yes.
Well, that says a lot, because for the listeners, there's no one I know who breathes and lives and is less surprised by things that go on in the NBA than one Miles Irvin. So if
Yes.
he is telling you that he was in utter disbelief and shock, then that is significant.
And I'm just saying that it's nothing against LeBron. It's the fact that I think there were 2, 3, 4 guys that deserved it over him. Like on my list, I didn't have Devin Booker either, just because even though the Suns have been, very good, I just didn't think he.
But you'd have had him over LeBron. I'm sorry, but you'd have had him in over LeBron.
Probably, I probably still would have had Booker over LeBron just because of the team success that the Suns have had so far. But it's just, I think that there are guys that should have made it over him. But of course, it makes sense that LeBron is in the game because we don't know. This could be his last season. Like, we don't know. This is our first podcast since the game last Wednesday. He made his lone trip to Cleveland in the regular season, and the talks all started coming up again. And you heard him during the post game really reminiscing and actually saying, this could be my last one. This could be my last time playing in an MSG, playing in an All-Star game, playing in all these situations. And Joey, you're shaking your head. I personally think he is going to play one more season, but you never know. Like, you never know when Father Time one morning during the off season just hits LeBron, and it's like, my goodness, I don't know if I can go through the whole ritual again of an off season, training camp, full on season, all that stuff. You just don't know. So it makes sense.
Especially the way this one started this year with his sciatica and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was very telling early on that he could have been. I think he'll come back to Cleveland for one last ride. Personally,
he has to, right?
He has to, right? It's a storybook tell, a storybook ending. We all know the NBA is scripted. This is how it's going to go.
We'll see. That's another chapter. That's another chapter that we can visit in about 5 months' time. But for now, I think that was definitely a surprise. But overall, I mean, how do we think the coaches did with the All-Stars? I mean, besides LeBron, which for the most part we're kind of in shock about, but even he's a legend. Were there any other ones that we were kind of surprised that that ended up making the game?
Chet over Şengün, just because I mean, I get rewarding winning, and the Thunder have had a phenomenal year. But that just surprised me because I thought Chet was more of a borderline and Şengün was a lock, and like we all had him on the pod, so that was surprising to me.
Yeah, I even though I had him and Booker, on my list. If you look back at it, I think they were my bottom two. Like I couldn't, like they were the borderline. Yeah, they were literally my last two ones that I had on there. Like I definitely thought Sengun was a lock.
Yeah,
Am I the only
so,
one who had Kawhi with Thousand Man, or was you guys?
No, everyone else had Kawhi. I was the only one
I
that
had
did it.
Kawhi.
Oh,
yeah. And, gosh, looking at this now, and Ben, I actually want to ask you this now that we're after the fact, because you didn't have Jokic on your team because of the injuries, but he obviously ends up making it. If you had Jokic on your All-Star team, being the only one that had LeBron, would LeBron be the guy that would have been on the cut, or would it have been a Booker or someone else? I'm just curious.
I would have hit the cut LeBron, to be honest. I, think LeBron's been good this year, but he just would have been the odd man out there. That's what I thought then.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely an interesting selection there, but obviously all guys deserving. Just like we'll talk about in the East, all these first-time guys. We have 3 first-time All-Stars in each conference, which is really cool. So special shout out again to Denny Abdia, Chet Holmgren, and Jamal Murray for making their first All-Star game. And I think this is a case. I think all 3 of these guys, I don't think any of them will be just like one-off All-Star guy. I think all these guys have a chance to make it in future years. Would you guys agree?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So super shout out to all those guys. Let's move over to the Eastern Conference. The starters were Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, and Tyrese Maxey. The reserves, Donovan Mitchell from the Cleveland Cavaliers having a career season. Karl Anthony Towns from the New York Knicks ends up making it. Scotty Barnes from the Toronto Raptors. Pascal Siakam from the Indiana Pacers. And then the 3 first-time All-Stars, Jalen Johnson from the Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Duren from the Detroit Pistons, and Norman Powell from the Miami Heat. So, Joey, let's start off with you. Here's a look again from about a week ago when we all predicted our All-Stars. Where would you like to start here?
Shout out Storm and Norman over LaMelo. Easy choice, obviously. Best player on the Heat. I don't know. Love him. Sorry, Nick.
He's not the best player on the Heat, and LaMelo deserved it more.
Like you said, not when the head coaches are voting on it, though.
Second straight year that the coaches believe that regardless of that the Heat's All-Star has not been Bam. They gave it to Hero last year, Bam this year. So second straight year where the coaches believe, hey, Bam's your second guy. Which is interesting. Very telling for what the coaches believe. By the way, if you're listening to this podcast and you did not get to hear the lovely Norman Powell versus LaMelo Ball debate from the last episode, highly recommend checking that out. That's one of the more comedic and entertaining moments that we've had in the.
Well, it is comedic. It's comedic because you guys had the argument that winning was the main argument. And the Hornets are below 500. The Heat are not. The Heat are higher in the standings.
5 games better, baby.
Charlotte is winning. They were 11-6 last month. They got an 8-game win streak, and LaMelo is the best player on that team.
I don't know about that one.
I said, you can go watch the last episode. I said I debated putting Con Knuckle here because that's closer in my opinion than LaMelo and Norman, in my opinion.
Wow.
Interesting. What I would say, one, obviously the whole season. I mean, I think they got hot too little, too late. I think everyone, when it came time for voting, was already in the mindset that the Hornets were too low, and this quick little winning streak didn't change anything. I think it's a similar case, honestly, with someone like Evan Mobley for the Cavs, who's been great the last month, but he's not really in consideration because of the slow start that the team got on and that he got on individually. So I think that's a case why that didn't make it. And the second thing is, I know we love talking about the Ben Axelrod strategy when it comes to making all-star teams, which I love. But when you're a Hornets team that has 4 guys that are putting up 19 to 20 points per game, if you're coaches, those guys are taking votes away from each other. In theory, they're all playing well. So I think that definitely plays into a factor.
They did miss 38 threes as a team today against the Pelicans. However, you got to love that they out-rebounded them by 25. So,
yeah, for sure. Something that I'd like to point out again, huge congratulations to all the first time guys that, three of us predicted Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson, and Norman Powell, but we all had Jalen Johnson and Jalen Duren as locks. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. We also had Michael Porter Jr. from the Brooklyn Nets as a lock, and he did not make it. And Pascal Siakam on what are the Pacers? A 13-win basketball team ends up making the game. Now, which one of us had?
Well, how many wins do the Nets have? Like, what did we have Porter in there for?
13.
Yeah.
Same deal. But hey, we had both of them. Nick, you had both of them. I'm surprised. Are we surprised? I guess three of us would have to be more surprised that Siakam got in over Porter.
Yeah, what do you think, Nick? You were the only one who actually had Siakam.
I think he deserves to be there. I would say he deserves to be there over Porter. I think they probably got it right. It's funny that two of our locks didn't end up making the team.
Yeah, one lock in each conference. We're all wrong.
Who else didn't have Cat though? Because I was dragging somebody for not having Cat.
That was Ben because
I didn't have Cat.
Because he got both Raptors on there. He had Scotty and Ingram.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and
Bam.
Nick, nobody. Oh, wait, I did have Towns. I thought I didn't.
Yeah. So Joey and I got everyone right except we put Porter instead of Siakam. So I'll take that. Good job, Joey.
Good job, Miles.
But I think Siakam, having been there before, and maybe the coaching staff feeling bad for him that he's been the only healthy player on the Pacers and he's still been doing his thing, probably played a part in it versus like Michael Porter, where this is his first season being like a number one option. Like he just doesn't, even though he is a champion as a role player, he just doesn't have like the pedigree as a Siakam.
I would say that Siakam is playing like from a stylistic standpoint, like a more traditional, like do it all kind of, rather than just load up the box score and shoot from behind the arc. And I think that's probably what they rewarded.
I don't know why they didn't reward Michael Porter for getting his assist numbers up. Like he's at over 3 assists a game. That is well deserved of an all-star.
Yes. Now, something else that I think that we should talk about here is a snub from the Eastern Conference All-Star list that
LaMelo.
I would not. Well, that is not LaMelo. That is not LaMelo.
I had to.
A snub on here that I do not think we would be talking about here if LeBron James did not make the game, and that is Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers, who has only played in 2 less games than LeBron James, and for the past month, he has played like he did when he was an MVP in the NBA, and he did not make the game.
He is playing fantastic. Now that I was gonna say originally, I still don't think he's a snub, but the fact that LeBron got in and Embiid kind of did, I'm with you on that, because Embiid this last month has been, like you said, MVP type numbers again.
Yeah. So for reference here, since the beginning of December, in the 19 games, and it's Joel Embiid. He's been in and out of the lineup, but he's been more healthy, than before. In the 19 games since the beginning of December, he's averaging 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists a game, 52% from the field, 85% at the line, getting there 10 times a game. He's doing MVP Joel Embiid things, and that's another thing why the 2 big shockers for me with LeBron getting in are the fact that Kawhi didn't make it, but that Embiid didn't make it. Now, I think Joel Embiid is going to end up making it because Giannis is injured and they're going to need a replacement. Also helps that Embiid is an international player, same as Giannis, so that's an easy replacement right there. But the fact that he's going to get in as a replacement, I think we didn't really talk about it, and I don't know if I would have put him in over a Siakam or Porter. That's for sure.
I agree.
And so I think it's just kind of crazy that he didn't make it outright, and it's going to take a replacement for him to get in.
Why do you think none of us had him on there a week ago when we did this?
Probably because of the games played thing, and since then he's played in nearly every single game.
That's why I didn't keep him on there, because even a week ago when we did it, he was playing. He was like really getting hot, but I thought it was a little too late with the games played. But same thing I thought with kind of LeBron. He started getting hot, but I'm like, a little too late.
Correct. Absolutely. 100%. So yeah, definitely interesting there. I did do the numbers, so it does work out that they did get 16 U.S. players and 8 world players, so it is going to work out for the teams there. I'm also wondering if that's a reason why LeBron made it over Şengün, and that's why Şengün didn't make it, just because the numbers didn't even out.
Well, that's messed up.
That's so messed up.
You know,
Almost
I
as
know
bad
that-
as Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco making the Pro Bowl. Sorry, guys.
I mean, no, that's a good point.
It's such a good point, though. Like, the All-Star games in every sport
Yeah.
are just awful right now.
Yeah. But yeah, just interesting, you know, results there. But you know, as far as, you know, the new format goes, it's kind of the same situation as it has been the last couple years, where like I'm willing to give it a try, and there are more players I feel like this season that have outwardly been saying, like, as you know, Nick leaves us for a second, that have outwardly been saying, like, okay, I'm tired of watching the game with no effort, and we're actually gonna you know, try and play hard. And we saw that even last year, you know, in the intermissions between the Kevin Hart yap sessions with Victor Wembanyama. You know, he was really trying hard out there. Jamal Murray has said stuff this season. I think other guys are going to try to join the fort as well. So, you know, something where I'm open to giving it a try. You know, more likely than not, it's not going to work, just because things have not worked the last few years. But, you know, I'm excited to see how it goes.
Agreed.
If they get Shedeur on the court, maybe it'll work.
All I know is, are you guys excited to see Shams Charania on in the celebrity game?
He was talking. He said,
It was.
I make a lot of my shot. He said, I'm a shooter. He said most of my floaters go in. Something like that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I'm
Woj
excited.
would never. Woj would never.
Woj would never. I am excited to see the, you know, competitors for like All-Star Saturday night, particularly the 3-point contest. That's always the highlight now for me every single season. You know, I do think I'm trying to remember, there were a couple guys that it got announced are going to try out the dunk contest this year. I think it's Carter Bryant and Jackson Hayes.
Yup.
That are going to try. Bryant, the rookie from the Spurs, Hayes, the backup big for the Lakers. So
Jackson Hayes does one East Bay in the Lakers game, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to the dunk contest. No Mac McClung, too, by the way. He already said he's not doing it this year, so we're going to have a new champ. Ooh.
Yeah.
I need to see Naquan Tomlin in it, though. I'll be honest. I want to see Naquan Tomlin in it so bad.
Yeah, even just to be on the stage, I think he's more of an in-game dunker, but we'll see. I like his potential.
Two names that I would like to see in the dunk contest are the Thompson twins.
Yes. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, I guess before we move on to the next thing, are there any guys that you want to see in, you know, whether the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, you know, the skills challenge? That's the Cavs to lose at this point until.
I would say, yes, similar to the Cavs, like the Spurs with Fox, Castle, and Vic do the skills challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And not try to, you know, BS it with CP3 like last season.
Oh, yeah, they did do that. That's right.
I do want to see, because obviously Cavs fans, I want to see Jalen Tyson in the 3-point contest. He's been lighting it up in immersion this year, and he's top 5 in the 3-point percentage still?
I think Sam Merrill's our guy for that one.
Yeah, either of those guys, one of those two, I think need to be there.
Yeah. I agree.
I think Sam's got the more likely shot of winning.
He's got the quick release.
But Tyson will get hot and carry some momentum, though, because he's got that little spark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those top, like, sharpshooter guys, like those guys, Cam Spencer from the Grizzlies has been red hot, you know, undrafted story there for Memphis. You know, Jamal Murray might be in it this year because he's in the All-Star game, and he's been awesome from 3 this season.
Sam Hauser, maybe?
Sam Hauser. You got one of those. The Suns have had a lot of those guys, like a Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, Lane. You know, heck, Dylan Brooks We didn't even talk about Dylan Brooks. Shout out to Dylan Brooks, who I cannot believe that there were legit conversations that, man, Dylan Brooks could have been an all-star, and it was not crazy.
That is
Yeah.
shocking.
What a wonderful world.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Oh, 3-point Con Knipple better be in the 3-point contest.
Con Knipple better be in the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
Better be from those Hornets. My goodness, shout out to the Hornets, man. This is the most love that this is the highest peak they've been in a decade, in a very long time.
This is their longest win streak in a decade. Last time they had a 6-game plus winning streak, MKG was in the starting lineup with that broken ass jump shot.
MKG, who else?
Cody Zeller, Marvin Williams, Kemba Walker, and Nicholas Batum was the last time the Charlotte Hornets had a win streak like they're on now.
It was also the last time Mike Breen called a game in Charlotte, right, Miles?
Yeah, weird. Yeah, that's just that stuff. That's how you know when you're back and being relevant again, is if he's in your city ESPN game. But moving on here, we've talked about Shams, we've talked about All-Stars. Let's talk about a former All-Star in the headlines for not so good news out in Philly with Paul George. It was announced over the weekend that he is going to be suspended for 25 games for violating the NBA's drug policy.
For dropping 30. For dropping 30, Paul.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Miles.
Yeah, he hit the 9 threes, and then, yeah, that's right. And in a statement, I believe, to ESPN, he said that it was for mental health, that he was trying to take something, regarding his mental health, and he just took the wrong thing or something that he didn't know violated the policy. Either way, just a horrible news for the Sixers right when, Joey, it looked like things were going perfectly. We've already talked about Embiid. He's been looking great. Paul George just had the 9-3 game. Maxi's been awesome all season. Finally hitting their stretch, and then this happens. Out of all things, this happens.
It really is a shame because it was, like he said in his statement, he said he was taking antidepressants and trying to work on his mental health, and it's a shame it's on the anti-list. But again, you should know that you should confer with your doctors. You should confer with the NBA when taking that and know what's going on and which ones you can take and stuff. But it really is a shame because the Sixers are hitting their stride, like you said. They're only a couple games. They're in the 5th seed. They're working in a bona fide playoff spot right now. Like, they're playing really, really well. Or 5th or 6th seed, right?
Yeah, let's see. They are currently 6 game. Yeah, they're the 6th seed at 27-21. They're a game and a half ahead of Miami for 7th.
Okay, yeah, no.
Silver lining.
And a game and a half back of Toronto and the Cavs for 4th and 5th.
Silver
I'd
lining.
say, yeah, it would be that it's kind of perfect timing because they're at game 45 or 50 or so in the season here, and you get suspended for 25, and you come back and you got 7 or 8 games to ramp up before the playoffs. So
that is true. If it was later, it would have been much worse.
Obviously, you don't want it to happen at all, but if it's going to happen, this isn't the worst time for something like this to happen. And honestly, yeah, the league saw they're like, it's 2026 and Paul George is on a max contract still, and he's dropping 30. He's dropping 30. Hold on, did I hear that right? Let's look into that.
Yeah, and he has had a good season. Shout out to Paul George. I mean, he's had a nice bounce back here, 16 points per game, 38% from 3. Like, he's had a good season. So, Ben, obviously a tough loss for the Sixers, who misses 25 games. That's 2 full months that he's going to not be able to play, and he'll come back. I believe it's like March 28th or something. So a couple-week trial run before the playoffs.
Yeah. Tough news. They were starting to click and play some better good basketball with him starting, play well, put up some good points as like a third scoring option there. And then, yeah, it's tough for the 76ers that this happened. So some more guys are going to have to step up there now while he's out with the scoring behind Embiid and Maxey, obviously, there.
Since he went out, Embiid and Maxey have been kind of taking it upon themselves to ramp up the scoring. Those dudes they combined for like 80 points a game the last couple games.
Yeah, they have been something special. They've got a game tonight as we're recording at LA against the Clippers, where Harden and Kawhi I think are both not playing, so they should be able to pick up a victory. And we'll see what they can do. I mean, they're used to playing without one or two of their key guys like in the lineup for most of the season. So we'll see how they can play, if other guys can step up, if they make any moves at the deadline or anything like that.
The thing for the Sixers is like, yeah, Embiid is back and playing well, but I still think like the heart of that team this year is Maxey and Edgecombe and their chemistry, and like it's kind of, I mean, especially when you have a big man who's playing at an MVP level with that, like it's easier to kind of jump back in and plug and play a guy like Paul George at the end of the season.
Very
Especially
much so.
if it's 25 games and he's still allowed to be in practices and stuff.
Yep, completely agree. I feel like Maxi is, even though Embiid is kind of getting the highlights right now with the scoring and his numbers back up, I agree with Maxi being kind of that leader still and kind of keeping everybody in line.
It's so fun to watch the two of them, Maxey and Edgecombe. Like there's some interviews and stuff where like they just seem to really like each other, bro.
It's a good duo to look for in the future.
Yeah, and again, they could still be a threat like this season. I mean, if this team can be healthy, I mean, they shouldn't feel any less than like, hey, why couldn't we win the East or get to a
For sure.
conference finals or anything like that? The problem is with this particular team is that if they can be healthy is one of the biggest ifs in the entire NBA and in the entire landscape of the league. So we'll see what happens there. So now let's talk about some trades. The trade deadline is coming up Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a podcast that night coming out on Friday to talk about all the action, what happens, what may potentially doesn't happen. But over the weekend, we finally had more trades. We'd only had the Trae Young trade happen this season. Now we had our second and third trades occur. Not as big as a Trae Young or as big as some of the trades that we may have happened, but definitely some that could impact the league. So starting off with our Cleveland Cavaliers. Our Cavaliers traded DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings. The Kings sent Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis to the Cavs. The Bulls swung in here to facilitate this deal, and they got 2 future second-round picks, and they had to take on Dario Saric's contract. In order to be in the deal, they had to send out something. So they sent two-way forward Emmanuel Miller to the Cavs, meaning the Cavs had to waive the Aussie Luke Travers on a 2-way contract. So he is, now gone. The Cavs only could have one Australian on the roster with Tyrese Proctor. They bring in the Canadian Emmanuel Miller. The Bulls had to waive hometown kid Javon Carter in order to make this deal happen. And the Kings with this deal, with the roster moved, sending 2 guys out, they now have room to convert their rookie undrafted 2-way forward Dylan Cardwell to a standard deal. He's been a nice energy guy for them. So a whole lot of moving pieces with this deal. Nick, let's start off with you here. Obviously, our Cavs, it has been an up and down season for them, coming in with major expectations. Currently 30-21. They've been playing a lot. They've been playing very good basketball over the last month or so, but they end up doing this deal here. Nick, what were your reactions?
Well, obviously the Cavs brought in DeAndre last year at the same point in the season to try and have that be their move to um, move the needle for last season, and it didn't work out. It like DeAndre had, I think his efficiency and production probably dropped from his time in Atlanta to when his season with us. Um, I don't think that it was anything of his own fault. I just don't think it was the right fit for him and for our offense and for the guys that are on the roster. Like for whatever reason, we just couldn't make it work with that with him. What I will say is that I really love bringing in a future Hall of Famer in Dennis Schroeder, and Keon Ellis is cut from the same cloth in terms of being a defensive first guard who can make impact plays on that end. I think both of those guys can do that. Probably Keon a little bit better than Dennis. And we got a lot of guards now. I mean, if as long as Jared Allen keeps putting up 40 and 20, I think having a lot of guards isn't a terrible thing. But we've come to know the Cavaliers quite well, and I think we would all agree that we need something other than a guard.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, what did you think about this deal? Of course, as Nick said, DeAndre Hunter, we kind of got the full, sort of high and low experience because last season he was awesome, coming off the bench. He was great in the regular season, great in the playoffs until Ben Matherin, you know, injured his shooting wrist and he became a non-factor. And this season, no matter what the situation was, whether it was starter, bench, playing with two guards, playing with the two bigs, having the bench to himself, he just has not been good on either of the floor. He's had some stretches like the Lakers game, he was good, but efficiency wise, he's had the worst shooting year of his career. Defensively, off ball was a non factor. So, what did you think about this deal, Ben, for the Cavs getting two guards? As Nick said, more guards to add to a loaded guard room, but two defensive minded guards that could help them.
So I overall really liked the deal from the Cavs. I was really happy when I saw the tweet from Shams on it being made, and it didn't shock me that it happened because there are rumors out. I saw about Hunter possibly getting traded. It's like, yeah, I think the Cavs will look to move on for him since he just, wasn't fitting the best. And yeah, he's been kind of a liability defensively, as you guys have said. He's not really had his best year offensively. He struggled in some games, just not being able to score a whole lot of points. And yeah, I'm totally fine with the Cavs move on from him, and I think they got a good return back. I like Keon Ellis as another like good defender we can have at our team that could be scrappy, kind of be like what Isaac Okoro was for us before, coming off the bench for some minutes in him. And I think that Schroeder will help a bit with the backup point guard play. I think the backup point guard play will be a bit more better now with him coming in off the bench. And I just think he'll be a nice veteran for the locker room, too, for
Yeah.
Schroeder. That excites me, too, with him.
Yeah, I think the thing that's so interesting about this trade, Joey, is for the three headline guys, Hunter, Schroeder, and Ellis. You could make a case right now who the best player is in this deal. By the end of the season, it could completely flip around. It's kind of interesting to figure out. Like, I think anyone has a logical opinion for the Cavs of like, who was the bigger get in this deal, getting Ellis or Schroeder? Because Keon Ellis is a guy that all season long has been one of the most highly coveted trade targets in the league. Like, at least 10 teams called Sacramento, who was not playing this guy, even though he has defensive instincts, he can shoot the three at a high level. But now he's on the move here. So Joey, what do you think about this move up for Cleveland?
I love it. Hunter was, like you said, great last year. Shot 42%, almost 43% from three last year when he was with us, and this year it's barely over 30%. I saw some people saying, well, we got to get him involved. He was averaging more shots and more attempts this year with the Cavs than he was last year. He just wasn't hitting them. I personally will attest. I think the thing was Ty Jerome, his buddy from college. Those two coming off the bench last year was such a good duo and had great chemistry. I think he lost his buddy, was uncomfortable, and it kind of unraveled. But I really I'm just happy Hunter's gone now, to be honest. Have fun in Sacramento. Hopefully you can turn it around. But I really like Schroeder. His upside is FIBA World Cup MVP. Who knows? He could play like that. And with Garland being so hurt and inconsistent and made of glass, Schroeder is someone who can sit right into that starting point guard, run the offense, doesn't need the ball and to be to get his shot all the time. He will get everybody involved. Ellis coming off the bench is that. I'm really looking forward to the energy that Schroeder and Keon Ellis are going to be bringing because
along with Tyson and Tomlin. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, with some of the guys, I know the start of the year how bad it was for us. At least I was really complaining about the energy and the hustle and the effort.
Yeah. They've changed it.
Getting these guys out of Sacramento, and into a contender, or at least a team that wants to contend, that energy shift could change the whole team. And I'm really looking forward to that. That's my biggest thing. Regardless if Garland comes back and is back and better than ever, and Schroeder does move into that backup role, even though I do like CPZ and he's been playing really, really well in my opinion, the energy that those guys are going to bring, I really hope it just infects the rest of the team, like Jalen Tyson and Naquan Tomlin have been trying to do this the whole year.
Yeah, those two guys bring some sass, bring some
Yeah.
attitude, which this team has definitely needed and lacked for the last few years. I think really, this team over the last few playoffs, when they've come up short, I mean, a lot of the, things go to, although they have been injured, the bigger point is that they're just not tough enough. They're not mentally strong enough. They're not physical enough. And now they got some guys that are going to be hungry, especially, like a Keon Ellis, who is going to be an unrestricted free agent this summer. The Cavs he's going to be eligible to sign a 3-year, $52 million extension starting on February 9th with which the Cavs can offer without having to worry about, going over the cap or anything like that to bring him back. And you have a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who we saw how great he was for the Detroit Pistons last year in their series when he got to a similar team, with all-star guards, with Cade Cunningham, is able to play and close series. He was really good in that series against the Knicks. And now comes in and can provide some, really good things, can provide some Ty Jerome-esque things, that this team is someone that can get into the paint, create for his teammates, can make mid-range shots, a streaky three-point shooter, a pest defensively. And Keon Ellis, I'm excited to see what Kenny Atkinson does with him, because
on offense,
he's a guy that, on both ends of the floor, because I feel like a guy that's so young and a pretty speedy guy, he's kind of been limited as just a three-point shooter in his career with Sacramento, but I think that he can definitely be a guy that can be electrifying on the break or as a cutter. So I think that, those two guys being involved in this offense are going to be really good. And, I know the point guard room is certainly filled with the Cavs, and that's why they may not be done here, which is something that we could talk about. They still have a few days to make some more moves. But I do like having Schroeder a lot, even though Craig Porter's been great. Obviously, Lonzo has not been good. He'll probably be on the move. But, Craig Porter's a guy that is still young when it comes to, big games and playoff experience. Dennis Schroeder now has played in 74 playoff games, which is the most on this team. So that is, definitely valuable. And that's not something to shy away from at all. This guy has played in big games, even though he doesn't have an NBA championship or has been to a finals or anything like that. Getting awards in the Olympics for a German team that is always playing in big, high-stakes situations is certainly going to be big for this Cavalier.
Call it how it is. He's the heart of that German team.
Yeah. I will say I only want Schroeder for this year, and then we can trade him next year, because he's only got 11 more teams to go to fill out the rest of the NBA.
You might not have to wait that long. Do you guys think that he could be trading his Cavalier jersey for a Milwaukee jersey? Or do you think the Cavs are done?
I don't think the Cavs are done, but I don't think Schroeder is going to move on. I at least want to kind of keep him.
Yeah, I think I like both Schroeder and Ellis together on this team. Honestly, I think what the Cavs are going to do, they're obviously going to attempt to trade Lonzo Ball here to try to get under the second apron. This trade is also huge financially, because they're able to save like $50 million in luxury tax bills by trading away Hunter.
When I saw us trade for 2 point guards, don't you be like, okay, well, maybe Garland's out?
Maybe, but not really, because Schroeder's the only point guard that they get in this deal. Keon Ellis, they're going to use as a 2-3, as Kenny Atkinson has kind of said. He's not an on-ball player. You're not going to see him running.
Yeah.
And the fact, Schroeder's older, but it does make you think, would they look to trade Garland if Trey Murphy's on the block, if Michael Porter's on the block for a wing player? I personally still don't think so. I think they're still going to see what they have and, go into the summer and look for something, because we rarely see teams make a completely drastic move from who they are and it actually work in the same season. And trading away one of the core four would be a drastically major change. So because of that, I think the extent of moves they'll do is either trade Lonzo to get out of the second apron, or try to trade one of their. Maybe they trade Max Strus, a guy that hasn't played at all this season, but does have some good money on his deal, to try to find someone that can play the 3-4. Because we are mentioning, Ben, that we have a lot of guards that can play 1 to 2 or the 2 to 3. Really, the only guys that you can trust on this roster to play 3-4. It's Onyx, in my opinion, it's exclusively Dean Wade to play 3-4. Everyone like Tyson, maybe, but and he's obviously had a great year, but I'm still not too sure.
You don't have Tomlin on there
because that's something that's key as well. Tomlin is
still on a two-way.
Oh, you're right.
So they still have to clear a roster spot in order to sign him to a standard contract. So that's where it's also tough for the Cavs coming deadline, because as a second apron team, like, I don't know if it's possible for them to just trade Lonzo Ball into someone's cap space for nothing and then sign Tomlin to a real deal, because they're gonna have to release a player.
Yeah, I really hope Tomlin stays, because he deserves a contract. He really does.
Oh, they definitely they 100% are. That's certainly something that they're going to do. I think he has 3 games left that they're going to exhaust. He's going to play the 3 games, and then they'll see what comes up, because maybe they do make a big trade. Who knows? I don't personally think so, but you never know. I didn't think that anyone would take on DeAndre Hunter because of the struggles that he's had. But the Kings are going to Kings, and I think we should talk about them, because we talk about a lot about the Cavs. So the Kings, it has been a wild season for them. Obviously, they've got the worst record in the NBA right now at 12-39, and the roller coaster it has been for this team has been wild since the offseason. Taking it back, there were reports. So they signed Dennis Schroeder to this 3-year, $48 million deal, and they did this like pretty quickly. It seemed like he was the top target for them during the summer. So they signed Dennis Schroeder. Later in the summer, they signed Russell Westbrook, who basically plays the same minutes and is kind of a similar player, but just cheaper, to play similar minutes, which also steals minutes from like a Devin Carter or, some of the younger players that they have on that team, including Keon Ellis, who's a good player that just has not been in the rotation. So the Kings are like, Keon Ellis, with all these teams interested, all right, we want a first-round pick in return for Keon Ellis. It goes so far south that in order to trade the Schroeder contract, they have to throw in Keon Ellis to get off of the deal. Like, it's just a horrible mismanagement to this point. And they also take on more money by getting DeAndre Hunter, who does not fit their team. It's wild what they're doing.
The fall from the second seed has been, I don't know if there's a better description than nosedive, because how do you get to this position where you're 12-39 and losing to the backup rotation for the worst team in the league in Washington?
Yes.
And making deals that just don't make any sense for the longevity or the current state of your team.
Well, this is perfectly in line with the Kings' mentality when they decided to trade for Zach LaVine and reunite DeMar and LaVine together with Sabonis and Keegan Murray, who they extended, who has played maybe 10 to 15 games all year. Like, this is perfectly in line with how they run that team. Very early running for GFF. As much as I love my Sacramento Kings, I really hope they make a lot of changes, at least in the front office this offseason. They might not even wait till the offseason. Honestly, right before the playoffs start, I think.
Miles, do you want to tell these people how bad that 9th loss in a row that the Kings just suffered the other night in Washington was?
Well, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, in the Battle of the Tank-Off, the Washington Wizards, like, this is a close game being played in D.C. here. Let me go see if I can find the lineup that the Wizards played to end the game.
Sharif Cooper, man.
Sharif Cooper.
Charge legend, baby.
Hasn't been in the league in years and had 7 rebounds, 5 points, +4, 13 minutes in the second half. Wizards win
Yeah,
by
the Wizards
4.
end up winning this game. Yeah, so the lineup, let's see. If Sharif Cooper is this, I believe, AJ Johnson, Will Riley, Anthony
Actually, an
Gill,
NBA player.
Yeah, Will Riley, yeah, good rookie. Anthony Gill and Scal Labissiere. Welcome back to the NBA.
Wow, Scal is back?
And they beat
Back.
Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, Precious Achua, Russell Westbrook, Nick Clifford. They beat the starting rotation for
Maxime
the Kings.
yeah,
Well,
the
Sabonis
Kings still
wasn't
played
playing
their guys
that
and they
game.
lost.
Sabonis has been out.
Oh, Sabonis. Either way, man.
Well, but no, they're playing their team. They're
Yeah.
playing their regular team, and they lost to the third stringers on the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Like, that's, oh my gosh.
That's bad.
To mark off your 9th loss in a row.
They got to blow it up.
Well, they did. They just traded for DeAndre.
No, I'm telling
Yeah. So, DeAndre Hunter, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure exactly what the mindset is from the Kings because honestly, like Keegan Murray's kind of a similar player. Like, I'm wondering if their mindset is to try to have like what they would hope to be a connector, kind of like a Harrison Barnes was for them when they were good. A guy that can space the floor, can defend a little bit. But as we've seen this season, and I think the problem that we've had with DeAndre Hunter all season is the fact that the idea of him is way better than the reality. That he's marketed as a 3-and-D player who this season has not provided either. So
yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, then he fits with the Kings. He fits in Sacramento.
With the Kings, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he does. So DeAndre Hunter, thank you for your service. 1 year as a Cavalier. I loved him last year. We'll see. I hope he can get back to that level. For the Kings and for his own sake. Once a Cavalier, you're always a Cavalier. So shout out.
We will always remember you crossing up Josh Giddey and posterizing the Chicago Bulls.
Yes, we will. Overall, here quickly before we get to the next trade, we got to grade the trade as we always do. Again, we quickly mentioned the Bulls. In here able to just, essentially give nothing away. Take 2 second-round picks, get Dario Saric, so not bad for them. But for the Cavs and the Kings side of things, Ben, how would you grade this trade?
So for the Cavs, I gave it a B+, and for the Kings, I would have to give it a C. Yeah, obviously for the Cavs, good trade. Really liked it, as I've mentioned before. It's just good deal in return. Time to move on for Hunter. And for the Kings, it's like I don't know what in the world they're thinking with this. Is what you guys have been saying too. It's like they're getting more salary with the Hunter thing. I just don't get it. And kind of a loaded forward room there, unless they somehow find a trade for DeMar DeRozan. It's just the King trade.
Yeah, there's plenty of suitors for DeMar.
Hey, I heard the Lakers are interested, so that checks
Oh
out.
boy, more defense.
Of course they
I
are.
would agree with B+ for the Cavs, C for the Kings.
I would give the Cavs a B+ with room to grade up to an A or A+ if this isn't where they end. Like if they bring in a forward enforcer, they got 2 guard enforcers who can really muck things up. But like I said when we started talking about it, like we know that what we need is not a guard. So B+ for now, with a chance for it to be an A+, because I do think that they made a really good swing and got 2 really good pieces for a guy who was a liability on the other end and didn't hit his shots this year. And then for the Kings, D.
Yeah, I'd give a B+ or an A- for the Cavs. It could go up to an A-, like Nick said. If those guys bring the energy like I think they can and completely change the team, it could easily go up higher. But yeah, D+ for the Kings because it's the Kings. There's nothing good that they're doing.
Yeah, can you Miles, the way that you spelled it out, where like you ended with they brought in more money, and that was like, oh god,
Yeah.
because because it started with Schroeder getting signed for big, and then I don't we just talked about it, and then Russ, and then you had to get off of Schroeder, and then you lose Keon Ellis just to get off of Schroeder, but then you bring in a guy who isn't making his shots and isn't playing defense and doesn't seem to fit your team,
And
so
costs more money.
and you bring on more money.
Dude, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
I think the Kings heading into the season are close to the second apron as the worst team in the NBA.
That's so bad.
So we'll have to figure that out. Finally, before we move on here, I know we're mentioning Cavs would probably be looking for, a 3-4 that could kind of be an enforcer. I'm struggling to figure out who that would be. Obviously,
I know.
course, we'll talk Giannis. I'm not sure, if that would happen, obviously this season or to even the Cavs, they're a low key team, but for a role player type of guy, I'm not really sure who that would be. So I'm curious.
It's like a
to see
Jackson Hayes, Daniel Gafford mold.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Daron
what we-
Sharp from the Brooklyn Nets is a low key guy that could come in that I would not be. He's a good offensive
I like
rebounder.
Daron Sharp.
So we'll see. Definitely could be possible. Next trade, I've spent a lot of time with that one. A smaller trade. The Atlanta Hawks sent KREJCI to the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for Duop Reith and a couple second-round picks. Joey, you seem to like this trade here.
I love it. I absolutely love this trade. Like you said, it's a small trade. I think this is the best possible trade that Portland could have done. This is clearly Portland, even though they're in a little bit of a skid right now. We've talked about the Hornets getting better. The Portland Trailblazers are dropping down on a little bit of a losing streak right now. But they're still in the play-in. Their young talent is performing. Denny Avdija, first-time All-Star, and they're investing in their team. They're bringing in a guy who is shooting 42% from three, and your help, like he's going to get all the open shots. You got Shaedon Sharp and Denny Avdija just driving the lane the entire time. Donovan Clingan clogging up the paint, and you got KREJCI just on the board. That's what you do. You have guys that attack the paint, and you surround them with shooters. That's a very good recipe to win. And this is exactly what they're doing. I think it's a fantastic trade for Portland. Very, like you said, small but extremely underrated trade.
Yeah, and as I look at it, I did not realize this, but it makes sense. Portland is dead last in three-point percentage this season, making just 33.5%. So you get a guy that is, I want to say top 20 in three-point percentage, really good catch and shoot guy, 42% from three. He's had some big games this year for the Hawks. So I like that for Portland. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We're at this point of the season. We're at the trade deadline, almost at the All-Star break, and because of the ultimate tank fest that's going to happen the second half of the year to try to get, Darren Peterson or AJ Debonsa, the top 10 in the West is almost a guaranteed, for the rest of the season. Like, I feel like it's almost Dallas, Memphis, Utah, New Orleans, and Sacramento are not going to be factors in the postseason this year unless it doesn't make sense for any of them to want to be factors in the postseason this year. So,
So what you're saying is, congratulations, Portland. You made the play-in for the first time.
Yeah, so Portland is right now, they're going to battle the Clippers for that final play-in spot. Clippers have been playing so well, I would guess more than likely or not, Portland will be 10th. So they're just gearing up, trying to get some role players that fit what they do. And, KREJCI fills something that they needed to address. Like their best three-point shooter on the season is Jeremy Grant at 36.5% from three. So that, bring in a guy that could definitely help them with that. And, Duop Reith, a guy that, he's out for the season, right foot surgery contract that goes to Atlanta. And kind of what we were talking about, initially, it doesn't make sense. Like for Atlanta, why would you send a good shooter, to Portland and not get a player back that can help you in return? Well, Atlanta, they got Corey Kispert in the Trae Young trade. Luke Kennard's been the best three-point shooter in league percentage-wise. Then they both come off the bench along with CJ McCollum. So just, a bunch of similar type of players there. They just make the move to get one off and get a couple second-round picks. So I think good business for both sides.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So with the trade deadline coming on Thursday here, what are you guys on the lookout for to maybe happen here? Ben, let's start off with you. I know, obviously, Giannis is the biggest thing that, is going to be talked about here. Not sure if he is going to be on the move by the time the deadline happens. But Ben, what do you think of that whole situation?
So with the Giannis stuff, with what I've seen on it, I'm thinking it's like a 50-50 chance he could be moved. I'm thinking it's a maybe because I have seen, on Twitter and stuff, rumors popping up, from, NBA insiders I trust on there about, some teams trying to aggressively pursue him. Right now, even possibly getting a deal done before the trade deadline. Like I've been hearing, the Timberwolves are aggressive after him, the Warriors and the Heat. I mean, those would be the three teams most likely could get him. And I mean, the Cavs, who knows? They might have interest in him, but I'm thinking he's probably not going to come to the Cavs. But I mean, I wouldn't mind our Cavs exploring it though. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens with Giannis. I mean, what the Bucks really believe they see a trade they really like. They can get some good players, a great draft capital in return. They could do it. It could be all right because I mean, even if they're like banned for the rest of the year, they trade away. Who knows? They could get lucky in the lottery. They could land one of those top picks and then get like a fresh new start with someone, new to build around. Who knows? But no matter what, I mean, obviously, it'll get moved on from soon. And I'm also watching the Sacramento Kings too. They might move on from some other guys and thinking maybe some bonus to the Raptors is something I'm looking at. And it would be funny about Sabonis was the biggest name somehow moved. Giannis doesn't get moved because I predicted before the year he was going to be the biggest name moved before the deadline. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Giannis thing, I think the key thing there, Shams went on ESPN earlier today, and the key thing is it said the serious suitors were the Heat, the Wolves, the Knicks, and the Warriors. The serious suitors. So I think anyone else that came in would be a surprise there. Among those teams, Nick, what do you think makes the most sense for Giannis between Miami, Minnesota, New York, and Golden State?
I think it's either Golden State or Miami. Um, that's what I could see happening. Um, Golden State, I think, is the most suitable because of the Jimmy injury and the fact that there's the contracts. I think can work out the best there. Um, the other avenues are much harder for me to see. So I would say probably Golden State at the top, and then like maybe Miami, maybe Minnesota, maybe New York. But I think it's like a 50-50 thing, like Ben said. I think there's a good chance of it not happening. Um, like when it's a 50-50 thing like that, I would tend to believe that it's not going to happen.
Okay, Joey, what do you think?
I tend to agree with Nick on that one. When it's 50-50, it's probably not going to happen. But I really hope he kind of goes to the West. I hope he just gets out of Milwaukee because at this rate, Milwaukee is, with the way Charlotte's playing right now and they're hitting their stride, the Bucks are closer to the Brooklyn Nets than they are the Charlotte Hornets. So I really hope
That's a
that,
good point.
like, I really hope he gets out of there because Giannis is quite literally playing the best basketball of his career right now, or almost there. Like, he is playing fantastic. I would like to see him in Golden State. I think that is probably the best option for him.
I could see him. I mean, like they were saying, picks open up more after the new season conveys in July because you get access to more picks. So that's why another real reason I think it'll probably be not now, because there'll be better packages available later.
Yeah.
But I could see him in a Lakers uniform, maybe like a three-team Cavs, Bucks, Lakers, Bron, Well, is he gonna be a free
LeBron to
agent? Right,
Cleveland?
that wouldn't work.
Yeah, unless it was like a sign and
Sign and trade. Sign and trade.
something like that. But like, I don't know. I'd agree with Joey. If it were to happen this deadline, I think Golden State's the one that makes the most sense. But yeah, I do believe you're right, Nick. Where there more draft picks become available to be used when the new turn of the year occurs in NBA terms on like July or right before the draft or what have you. So I mean, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, I think all of us can agree that Milwaukee needs to be focusing on getting draft assets for this year's draft and for much later in the future as well. I don't think that bringing in a player right now would help them. That's like almost the number one reason that like I think Cleveland is a non-factor in this, because why would Garland really help them?
Right.
Why would
Right.
Allen help them? Mobley, I guess, I don't know why that would really help them right now. Like, and some of these other teams as well. Like, if you do not have the draft assets to get him, I don't think it's possible. That's why I don't think New York is going to happen.
Well, Mobley is the one that I could see the Bucks building around.
Yes, correct. I agree.
So that would be spicy.
But at that point, the Cavs don't have the picks to go with it. Like, I think this is a guy that is going to bring in a historic amount of assets in return.
We also said the same thing probably with Luka, or at least we thought.
No one knew Luka was getting traded.
Well, no one knew. No one knew he was on the move.
No.
But
I
you would
agree.
think he would.
It would have to be probably a record-setting number of assets.
It's gonna be something crazy, if it does end up happening, but it definitely could, come up, closer here. So we'll see what happens. I mean, is there any other things, Nick, Joey, that you guys are looking for here at the deadline from any of these other teams?
Minnesota has needed a guard all year.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see if they actually do something about that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna call it right now. We'll see if it happens. I'm predicting Kobe White is going to get traded to the Timberwolves. I think that
would be a great fit.
Ooh, that would be a really good fit.
Yeah.
I would really like to see the Pelicans try to make a move or something like that, like Herb Jones or Trimmer. Personally, just as a Cavs fan, I would like either of those guys coming to Cleveland for something. But
Herb Jones would be great with us.
Yeah, but we don't really have that much draft capital, and that's literally what they need, which is the unfortunate part.
Yeah, so I think the big things I'm going to be watching for this deadline are the two teams that we predicted would be taking gap years this season in the Celtics and the Pacers, who, of course, both teams are on completely opposite ends. Pacers worst record in the East, the Celtics tied for second in the East. They've been awesome. But both of those teams need centers still. Like, Indiana obviously needs a center. They kind of can afford to wait until the summer to make a deal. Boston in an open Eastern Conference could be a team that could look at getting someone like a Gafford, like Daniel Gafford, Day'Ron Sharp, someone of that mold to come in and be the starting center, going forward. Because obviously Cade has been good for Boston. Luka Garza is a good backup, but you probably want a more proven center for you going into playoff time. So I think that's something to watch to see if either of those teams make a move for a big guy.
Running into Duran and Mobley and Allen and Mitchell Robinson, who we're about to get to here in a minute.
Yeah.
Towns and Embiid and Bam, and literally every team, has some sort of big. So that'll be something. Obviously, I think the Cavs are definitely. I know I've been hearing around a lot that they are someone to watch here. Obviously, because we just don't know what's going to happen with some of those moves. But I do think it's very encouraged with how they have been playing. Very encouraged with how they've been playing. Most of the podcasts talking about them this season, it's been more on the downhill. But I've been loving what I've been seeing lately.
It's been very much improved as of late, and I would like to see them still be kind of buyers. I think we're still missing at least a piece.
Yeah. But then the final thing before we get to Nick's segment here, I think the biggest thing that I'm going to be watching is the team at the top of the East in the Detroit Pistons, who have been the best team in the East all season long. They had that stretch in like a week span where they were able to beat Cleveland, New York, and Boston all like in a span of like a week or a couple of weeks. So it's almost a guarantee they're going to be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. And, which is going to be huge for that team. In an open Eastern Conference, I think they need to be looking to get, improved offensively, because I don't think they have an offensive unit there with the lack of shooters that is going to allow them to get to a place where they can represent the Eastern Conference in the finals. Once they get to, teams that are able to just have a better game plan than them on the offensive end. Obviously, defensively, they're going to be good. Cade Cunningham is going to
One
be
thing,
awesome in the playoffs, but 3-point wise, there's a huge hole right there. So I think that's something they need to address.
That
Majorly.
2K trade I had that happen in my 2K my career. Tobias Harris for MPJ would be crazy.
for sure. That would open things up for sure.
That would really open things up for Detroit.
However, I would argue that Detroit is one of the deeper teams in the league, and any given night they could have a guy go off. Like, I'm sitting here watching Duncan Robinson 4 possessions in a row just drill 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, and it's like, well, they also got Karis LeVert, who's been out for a while. Jaden Ivey is capable of having a 20-point ball game. That dude Dennis Jenkins off the bench, like,
Yeah.
they have a lot of depth pieces who could step up unexpectedly,
Yeah, very, very true. Duncan Robinson's obviously the shooter that they have that's been huge for them all season. But if I'm an opposing team going up against them in the playoffs, I'm living with everyone else shooting the ball, honestly. And if we
play 4-on-4.
Look, literally, if we die because Dennis Jenkins and Javonte Green and Asar Thompson are hitting threes, then what are you gonna do? But like, I feel like they need more guys, because obviously it's something we talked about in the offseason coming into the year. Like, what Beasley and Hardaway brought to this team were so huge, and Tobias Harris, who's still there, and even Dennis Schroeder last year for their play in the playoffs. I think Jaden Ivey is going to be the guy that's the odd man out, just because he's been okay, but like, he's playing very limited minutes. He's still a young guy that's going to need to get paid, and I think believes in himself that he can play in a bigger role. So I would look for him to be on the move for them to try to acquire some more playoff ready 3-point shooting. Because that's another thing. This team, regardless if they're the number one seed or not, there's gonna be a chip on their shoulder, and some people that don't believe as much, because they have not won a series in close to 20 years as an overall franchise. So there's still gonna be a team that, in my opinion, they need to prove it until I actually think of them as a championship contender. Also, with them just not having the shooting.
There's a couple shooters in Sacramento that I think Jaden Ivey could go for.
Doug McDermott?
I don't know. Maybe Levine. But they'll have to pair him up. I don't know how much money and cap space the Pistons have, because obviously I think Levine's got a bigger contract.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, definitely some interesting things to watch at the deadline. Obviously, the Lakers are always going to be something. I just don't really see much happening with LA, Minnesota, the point guard you mentioned.
More headaches for JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, the top of the West, I don't see a whole lot happening there. So
my pipe dream of Giannis to San Antonio was kind of fallen out of contention, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that would have been nuts.
That was a pipe dream.
Yeah, but anyways, final thing before we get out of here, Coach Cove, we've got a brand new segment that we are bringing here monthly on the Runnin the Paint podcast.
Yes, sir. It's the first pod of the month, so we will do a brand new segment called the Heart, Hustle, and Selflessness Award, which we are awarding based on, as you guys know, I coach high school basketball, and those are 3 of the values that I hold very dear to me. So I got 3 candidates here, bronze, silver, and gold. We're going to start with bronze, a former Cavalier who plays for the Charlotte Hornets, who we've given a lot of love to, and that's Colin Sexton, man. I think he has been probably an unspoken piece to this Charlotte Hornets thing, talking about vets and guys who make an impact behind the scenes and stuff like that, like Dennis Schroeder. Colin Sexton was a big pickup for them this offseason, and I think he's done really well probably in the role that they've given him, being a backup guy and having leadership role like that and stuff. So the reason that I had him on here was I don't know if you guys saw him last month, but he was guarding Steph Curry all the way out into the tunnel.
I saw that.
So that is the definition of heart right there. And
that's the intensity I fell in love with back when he was in the summer league with the Cavs and he's hitting the floor and like squaring up at half court.
Yeah. So it didn't work out for them that night. I think Curry was 2 of 8 from behind the threes, 6 of 12 overall, and Charlotte lost by 20, playing 4-on-4. But yeah, Curry's a fantastic decision maker, and he always finds a way to make an impact. I love Sexton's effort and commitment on that end that night. So he got the bronze for last month.
Good pick. Good pick.
I forgot to ask you guys. I said I was gonna. Did you have any predictions for heart, hustle, or selflessness? Any guys that come to mind who fit that for you?
Immediately, because of a Cavs fan, Naquan Tomlin. Just the way he's been, like we've talked about a lot already about how the Cavs have been improving as of late, and I think he has been, him and Tyson have really been the heart, but Tyson's been doing it all year. Naquan Tomlin over the last like month and a half has come out of like nowhere, it feels like, and has just changed this team off the bench.
Yeah, both of those guys. Jalen Tyson has just become one of my favorite players. He's going to go down as one of my favorite Cavs of all time.
Agreed.
You said Mitchell Robinson earlier, and he's been one of the biggest role players. As he has been for the last few years, he's one of the biggest difference makers as far as role players go in the East. I'm curious to see which tier he's on, though.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Ben, you have any guesses?
Well, I was thinking possibly Phoenix Suns. That's a team that really, plays a good hustle heart. Maybe Dylan Brooks, he still plays such a good tough hustle mentality. We'll see, maybe him or something.
For sure. I'm definitely going to consider those guys and be watching them for next month. Tomlin, Tyson, and the Suns, because they all seem to fit right in with this category. But I picked De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle for the selflessness aspect of this.
Yeah.
Because, whether it's Wemby or Barnes or any of the other weapons they have out there, it seems like Fox and Castle are the engine of that, and they really get everybody going first. Like, they don't look for themselves first. They get other guys going and take what comes to them, and that's what good point guards do. So for the selflessness aspect of it, De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle got silver for the month of January. And then, Miles, you guessed it. Mitchell Robinson cannot be denied. It's going to be hard to deny him of this award from month to month because, in limited minutes, just a beast on the offensive glass. Every hustle play imaginable is his, and he's just an unstoppable force in the paint. Like, there's not much else to say because he comes off and changes the game for whether it's 2 minutes or 8 minutes or 12 minutes. Like, it's not the same basketball game it was when he was on the bench.
I saw one of my favorite clips of the season just earlier today, probably, or of Mitchell Robinson grabbing an offensive rebound, giving it to a guy who the 3-point, and he just starts walking back, not even looking at the hoop because he knows it's going in. Like, it's like Steph Curry-esque, but on the offensive boards. Like, that's just all hustle right there.
Dominant. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 offensive rebounds per game in less than 20 minutes a game. Like, that is absurd. He's averaging more offensive rebounds per game than points, which is crazy. Like, I don't know how many guys you'll get this sort of impact that average 4.7 points a game, like, in the league anymore. Like, it's hard to find those guys. It's very, like, Tony Allen-esque, like, obviously like a Dennis Rodman-esque type of thing, but on the
there's no, like, you were talking about how you think that Pistons need to make a move. And one of the things I was thinking while you were saying that is because their scouting report is very easy to go up against. There's no scouting report for Mitchell Robinson. It does not exist. Like, good luck finding an answer.
I mean, in the playoffs, like we saw last year, it's just hack a Mitch because he's still. I want to say his free throw percentage is like 38%, which is just not gonna work in the playoffs. It is up because I remember like a couple months ago, is at like 24%. So yeah, you gotten better. But that's the scouting report, and that's where it's almost like I don't want to say Shaq-esque, but like there may be in like playoff series when he's on the floor, you might need to buy a few minutes just committing fouls to just send him to the line.
I don't know. What's the rules though? Like, can you continuously foul somebody off the ball to send them to the line? I thought it was like a tech. I thought you have to have the ball to get sent to the line once you're in the bonus. I don't know. I need to look at the rules before I start talking about something like that on the podcast, I guess.
Well, you're right. Let me see if they fixed it. But I remember they still did it a lot in oh, that's right. That's what they did. So the way they fixed it, because it was a problem, the way they quote unquote fixed it, which it wasn't really fixing because we still saw it all the time in the Pacers and Celtics series last year. The Hack-a-Shaq rule, it applies for the final 2 minutes of every quarter, not just the fourth now. It used to just be the fourth quarter, but now it's the final 2 minutes of every single quarter, which, you know, it's interesting. I guess that does kind of help because then you would be intentionally like getting yourself in the penalty earlier to commit a bunch of fouls instead of waiting till the end of the quarter when you're probably already in the penalty. Then you can't be committing fouls. So I guess that is a way to fix it, but that is kind of the way that would work.
So you said the Hack-a-Shaq rule. I'm not sure I know what the rule is.
Well, essentially, if like he's off the ball, you can just foul him and send him to the line.
So in the last 2 minutes, you cannot do that, but in the first 10, you can?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
That's the Jeff Van Gundy thing. Like, why would we be doing this? Why isn't it a rule for the full 48 minutes of the game? I can understand that viewpoint, but then things kind of get dicey because then there are like legitimate off-ball fouls that occur.
So right, and you don't want to get sent to the line for every single one of those.
Yeah, like what do you consider intentional versus what do you consider, like, I don't know. At the end of the day, Mitchell Robinson just needs to become a better free throw shooter because, like we keep saying, he's like unguardable on the offensive boards, but the only way is to just foul him. You know, which does work. But definitely love it. Mitchell Robinson definitely well deserved of the what's the name of it again, Nick?
Heart, hustle, and selflessness.
Hustle, and selflessness.
Hustle, heart, and I don't know which one sounds better.
I like heart, hustle, and selflessness.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like it. I like it.
Decent ring. It'll grow on us.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm excited to see who gets this award as we go along. Maybe for the playoffs, we'll have like a
round by round.
Yeah, each series or each round. Like that'd be a lot of fun. But that is all for us here today. Another longer pod. We will be back on Friday to discuss all of the trades that happened at the trade deadline, regardless of if there's 1, if there's 20. Hopefully there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We'll be back here to discuss it all. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No.
Thanks for watching.
You got anybody to shout out, Miles?
If you enjoyed.
Miles, your grocery bagger.
Yeah, you got anybody to shout out?
Shout out to my friend Drake Crumley, Dr. Drake, for his incredible performance in the National Grocery Bagging Competition.
Top 5.
Las Vegas, dude. Definitely huge congratulations. Super proud of you, buddy. And excited to see it when you get back home. But for those, that is a real thing. So kids out there, continue to dream big dreams. You never know what you can do. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.